Hey cutie. Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. This is the second video I'm filming in this setup, my tripod. You guys are so far away from me now. Anyway, very not on topic. I am here to share my final check-in for the 24 items I want to finish in this year, 2024. I'm actually looking at a very humble amount of products that are in front of me right now. I've made a ton of progress throughout the course of this past year, the past 11 and a half or 10 and a half months at this point. So I'm really excited about the fact that the number of items is getting smaller and smaller. Oh, also, if you're not yet subscribed, I hope you consider subscribing before moving on. If you like favorites videos, project pans, finishing up makeup, figuring out how to use some of the makeup that maybe you don't love so much, I'd love to have you as a cutie too. I have been slowly whittling the number of items that are still waiting to use up in this project. Not even a project. This has just been like the items that I've been like targeting to finish within the year because I don't want to bring these in to the next year. Some of them will be with us until the next year, and we'll get into that in a bit. Anyway, in quarter one, I ended up finishing 4 items. In quarter two, same thing, 4 items. I knew the beginning of the year was going to be pretty slow for progress within these items. I had some pretty lofty goals, some items that were really full of product when I rolled them into this project. So just because I was setting my sights for them, I knew there were going to be things that maybe I wasn't going to actually achieve, but it's all just kind of fun being able to try. And maybe some of the items were a little bit like low-hanging fruit, but some of the items were much more challenging items. So I feel like a good mix of those kinds of items this year. All of that tangent to say, the second half of the year is really when I thought that I would be making my biggest amount of progress. And from what I finished in quarter 3, it does seem like that. I did finish 7 items last quarter, and that was a lot of items. That was like almost 30% of the items within this project. I feel like I did a really good amount of work throughout the past 3 quarters of the year. Q4 is It's slow to go, but I feel like it's because I have a lot of the challenging items left. However, I have been making progress. So as of this check-in, halfway through the quarter, I've actually finished 2 items. So I'm just going to talk about the items that were still remaining within quarter 4, what items I've actually finished, what items I still am hoping to make some final progress or finish or wrap up in some way, and kind of just check in one last time before the finale next month. I have my 7 items in front of me. This is going to be a pretty short update just because there's not much to talk about. So the first item, you actually have been seeing this you've been seeing a few of these items in my end of year project pan. The first item on my list is the La Roche-Posay Anthelios SPF and Primer. This was a really beautiful product. There might be a tiny bit in the squeeze mechanism in here. I can't get it out, so I've tried. I used the last of it yesterday, actually. Cut it open. It only lasted me 5 more uses, but I really like this. This is something that I get through my like HSA, FSA, that's like health spending stuff, so I can actually buy this SPF on that, and that's how I usually do it because it's pretty expensive. Like I think it's $40 if you were to get this at Ulta. Then I have a item that I set some laser focus on earlier this year, and then I kind of frankened it with some other products and then made it too light. So I've been waiting for the past this time this year to just finish the rest of this up and get it out of my collection. That is the Fenty Eaze drops. This I also cut this open. I had to saw this sucker open with a X-Acto knife. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that. However, there was so much product coating the sides. This is something that just never settled ever. I never got this to settle. I know a lot of you guys said yours settles. I don't know why mine never did. It always coated the sides, and it was like even a struggle to scrape it out. Like there's still a ton of product on the sides of this. I ended up frankening this with a couple concealers that were a little too light because this is a little too like orangey. The Fenty foundation, gosh, I can't get this back in there. So that's, the Fenty foundations typically run a little bit more orange tone, definitely more warm toned than cool toned. They definitely lean warmer. So if you're going to buy one, I definitely recommend maybe just reaching for a cooler tone shade because they do tend to dry down orange. Anyway, I no longer have it in that packaging, obviously. I have moved it into this airless pump packaging. This was once a mini primer at one point, and I've just been making progress on it. I put it in here about June or July. I marked July. That's when I marked it at least. Made some progress in August, and then I just kind of tucked this away because it got way too light for me. I rolled it into my end of year project pan to just kind of zip through this because it does work for me right now. I mean, I'm looking at the marking I made in my project pan. I've already made some substantial progress in this. So this is definitely going to be something I finish before the end of the year. So I am counting on this at least to be in my final numbers of finished products. There's a few in here that are not going to be finished. Speaking of not finishing products, the next one on the list is likely going to be one that is not finished by the end of the year, which is a bummer. However, I did myself dirty earlier this year. I completely fell in love with another product that totally took the usage over from this one. This is the LA Girls. This is the Velvet Contour Blush Stick. Why do they call all their blush sticks contour sticks? I don't know. It bothers me. But this is the Velvet Contour Stick. This is a blush stick in the shade Velour. I've been working on this now in my end of year project pan because I was having a hard time focusing on this naturally. This is all the product that's left. I say all the product that's left as if that's a little amount of product, when that is so much product in here still. I don't necessarily love it. It's fine. I've made some good progress since rolling it into the end of year project pan. So I think next year I just actually have to roll this into a project immediately or track the uses somehow. I do think my most used makeup series has been helping me just gravitate towards my whole collection. If you miss it, I track my makeup and I talk about the products I've been using, so I'll link it if you're curious what that's about. Moving on to the product that I don't know why I decided this was a good idea. If I could go back in my time machine, I might shake myself a little bit just for like, why did you do this to yourself? I rolled in the 3 highlighters from this trio. This is the Oprah Feelin' Myself trio. I rolled in 3. Why did I roll in 3 highlights? I don't know. My crazy brain decided that was a good idea. I think maybe I thought they were minis so I could plow through these. However, I can't. I'm having a lot of fun just kind of gravitating towards my whole collection, but this is the highlight trio. I have Blissful, Pillow Talk, and Rodeo Drive that are part of this. I have been focusing my efforts on the more gold toned, the one where my pinky's wiggling over. That is Rodeo Drive. However, I have been focusing on these other 2 highlights, but not as highlights. So this has been like my day in, day out highlight for almost the entire year. I love this shade. One of you guys is so sweet and offered to send me your Rodeo Drive. I'm still thinking about it because it seems ridiculous that I'm thinking this much about it, but ever since I saw that comment, I've been thinking about it, and I'm just not sure if I want this out of my life or if this is something that I would want back in my life, you know, like sometimes with makeup, I like to hit it and quit it. Anyway, I have been using these 2 highlights that I don't really like as eyeshadows. So I ended up mixing this with a different eyeshadow, and then that has been my inner corner highlight. You might have heard me talk about it in my Pan That Palette series because it's in that palette. While I'm not gravitating towards them in this capacity, I am reaching for them. You just don't see progress because I take it out of here and put it somewhere else. So I will eventually come back to those. I went on a tangent about this and I totally forgot to say, I definitely don't think I'm going to finish these two shades by the end of the year, but I'm really hoping and really trying to finish this one. I feel like if I repressed it, I could totally finish it, but if I don't repress it, then it's kind of like not gonna happen. The next product is another exciting product, at least, where maybe we're not gonna make progress in those highlights. Again, what was I thinking? What was she thinking? I did actually end up finishing the next product. This was something that was brand new when it came into this plan to pan in the beginning of the year. If not brand new, pretty darn brand new. Like we were all the way up to the top. That might have just been the first marking, and we might have just been all the way full up with this when I rolled it into this project or decided I wanted to set my sights on this. I really like the NYX Bare With Me product, the spray. I think the thing about it that really sets it off is the mister. The mister in this particular product is so fabulous. I've tried other NYX setting sprays and I don't like them nearly as much as I liked this one. And I can mix my other setting sprays that maybe have more aggressive sprayers into this, and it's like the most heavenly experience. There is something about the Bare With Me setting spray mister that is so good. I hope they never change it because it's so fabulous. Whatever source you use, hats off. And then we have two more items, and the next one is not an exciting one. I rolled in this Kiko Milano lipstick into finish, ideally finish, because it was teetering on the like, is it going off? Is it not going off? It's going strong. It's going fine. So I don't know. Yeah, it smells like cupcake still. It is just a darker, more mauve with almost, I wouldn't necessarily call this a metallic lipstick. However, there is like a sheen to it, almost like a satin finish. And that satin finish tends to be a little bit more icy toned for some reason. I don't know how or why, but it just kind of puts me off using this, and I think it's mostly the depth of the shade. However, whenever I wear this to work, I get a lot of compliments. I just don't wear it to the office that often because I'm not super comfortable in this. However, this is not something that I think I'm going to finish, unfortunately. If I started using it as a cream cheek and as a lipstick, I'm sure I could see this out before the end of the year. However, I'm still really trying to make more progress in this, although this is not as old as that Kiko lipstick. Then the last product is something that's going to look deceptive at first. This is the Dolce & Gabbana Dolce Violet Eau de Toilette. Technically, this is an empty container. However, I've housed it in here because I did not like the scent of Dolce Violet by itself. I did initially, and then it got way too sweet for my preferences. So I cocktailed it with another too woodsy fragrance, and that's what I've been working on. So this is a mixture of the Dolce Violet and the Fantasy Cosmetica Druid fragrance. And this is all that's left in the container of both of those. I've been working on those two items all year long. Every time I mix it into this atomizer, I get almost all the way through. I start mixing more into it, and then I've just been doing that all year long. This is the day in, day out fragrance I wear going to work. It is one that I don't really enjoy wearing. I don't want people to associate this smell with me because I don't really like the way that this smells in particular, but it's not off-putting where I'm like, I'm not able to wear this. It's just one that I'm like, it's fine. It's too woodsy. It's very woodsy to me, and like with the sweet notes, it's almost like springtime in the forest, which if that is your cup of tea, I am so happy for you. That's not my cup of tea. I like very clean scents for the most part. So that one I'm expecting to finish before the end of the year also. Whether I have to wear it every single day, not just to office, or if I have to start using that as a room spray, a freshening up spray, a bathroom spray, I do not care. That is getting out of my collection this year. I am going to have those two fragrance empties this year. So I am at least planning on another 1, 2, 3 items to be finished. So a total of 5 items in Q4. Ooh, my stuff's gonna shut off real quick. Sorry, I knew my camera has like an amount of time that it will record and then it'll just turn off, and I didn't want it to happen. So in the grand scheme of like using makeup, using my collection, the products that I've actually finished throughout this year, I have definitely finished over 24 items in their entirety throughout the year. I have my makeup empties that I'm saving throughout the entirety of this year to recap all of the makeup that I finished throughout 2024. And it's actually a decent amount of items, and that's nothing to like put this project like, it's okay if I don't make all the goals in here, which ideally I do make all the goals in this. However, I'm not going to beat myself up because I did make progress in other areas in my collection, and I've seen a lot of items move their way out of my space this year, which has been really nice. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you're doing in your panning. Did you have a list of items that you were trying to finish throughout the course of the year? I would love to know. I'd love to catch up with you in the comments below. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye! I have to stand up to reach this now. That's wild.